Welcome to Life Lessons of a Creative Entrepreneur, LACE for short. And today I have an amazing guest. He is the literal definition to me of what a creative entrepreneur is. He is a multidisciplinary artist and business extraordinaire, from doing video for major brands like Oprah Winfrey to NFL to producing music for NBA 2K and ESPN. Bryant Walker has mastered the art of crafting strategic media for a specific market at scale, going viral on YouTube in 2006. I'm telling you, early days, with scooter tricks, getting 100K views, from managing 30,000 a month in Facebook ads. I mean, this guy has done it all. And that entire experience and everything that all the skills that he's collected over the years prepared him to launch his media and digital firm, Real Results, in 2017. So he helps clients tell impact stories through online video for every step of their sales process. So Bryant Walker, welcome to the show. I'm so excited to have you.
So excited to be here because that's the energy we on. Exciting energy.
Absolutely. So obviously you've done a lot of different things. You have so many different skills that all complement each other and make you just a powerhouse that you are. I want to talk today a little bit about how all of these skills allow you to really position people, businesses, creators in the right spots to attract the right opportunities. And that sounds vague, but it's very powerful. So I would like for you to deconstruct that process a little bit.
Yeah, so I'm 32 now. I've been doing video since I was probably like 10 or 11. I got a Razor scooter for Christmas. My mom thought it was the only safe thing to ride. She saw X Games, people breaking their necks on skateboards, bikes, rollerblades. So like, he can't do anything on a scooter. And because she never saw video of it, right? So video is very powerful. Video is why I wanted a scooter. I saw a commercial. Kids were doing tricks at the skate park. I said, you can do tricks. It showed me that it was possible to do things beyond just kick push. And that was kind of like my entry route to just video and being exposed to things I've never heard of before. And then being excited about something I had never heard of before in seconds. I'm pretty sure you, Chris, you can remember a commercial you saw when you were a kid that was like, I gotta have that. And then it just, becomes the thing that you focus on. And, to make a long story short, back then there was no social media and all that good stuff. So we had forums. This is 2002. I'm in AOL instant messenger chat rooms and stuff. And I'm saying I can do these tricks as a 12-year-old, and there's a lot of like, trolls and stuff. And it's like, oh, nobody can do this, nobody can do that. And I'm like, no, I can do tricks you guys have never seen before. I don't have a skate park. I just got like my flat land. I can do stuff y'all can't do because I don't have a skate park. Because most of the kids are from like California. I'm in North Carolina, Charlotte area. It's not a skate scene. And I ended up doing this trick called a front scooter flip, where you like scooter flip you take the scooter and like flip it over your head, land on it. Nobody believed I could do it. My dad had this handy cam connect to the computer. I used to use this thing called Dazzle to connect like the what is it, the red, white, and yellow cable to the computer, and then that plugs in through like an old school USB 1.0. And I got this video out. I didn't even have audio because it couldn't convert the audio from the video, and I used Sonic Foundry Vegas video. This is before Sony Vegas, because only OGs you really use Sony Vegas. This is before Adobe and stuff. Got that video out, put it up on YouTube, not thinking much of it, and it goes viral, especially for that time because YouTube just came out in like '05, '06. I put that video out at that time and it goes viral and I get 100,000 views, and the rest is history. I wasn't cool being the black kid during the 50 Cent gangster rap era riding a scooter in skate clothes. This is pre Be Yourself movement. That was more everybody has to, kind of combine to this overall image that we're being projected. Again, video. Hey, what does BET say we are? What is, this most popular artist? What are the girls like? What do the guys say is cool? YouTube was this first entryway to like, there's an audience of people who like exactly what you like, and you don't got to change. And me getting older, fast forward now to me doing marketing and whatnot. A lot of businesses think there's not enough people who actually have a need for what they offer. A lot of creatives aren't really honed into the needs of those people. And a lot of times they'll think there's a shortage when there's really a surplus. And what that exposed me to is there's a surplus of people who are interested in our offerings if we know how to position them, articulate them, put them in the right places. Because had I not put that video on YouTube, I would have had poor reasoning saying, oh, nobody likes scooters. I may have quit. But because I had an online community, because nothing can survive without community, and that's what artists, that's creators are really here for. There's no community without art. The internet was a communication vessel that allowed me to find my community, and I became obsessed with helping other people find their community online. So they don't give up.
That's amazing. I love that so much. Just like kind of the evolution. And obviously, you also have a lot of influence from your background. Like your father is the OG. I mean, tell me a little bit about how, like, your father's journey a little bit and how that influenced your journey as a creator and now, the strategist, all the things you do.
Yeah. So my dad found this out recently. So I'm a unicorn in everything I do. Like everything about me is weird, extremely weird. So I'm the black guy, but I grew up in the suburbs. But we grew up in a really nice part of town, but, like, my parents got a house, like, on the water, like, but doesn't touch the water, but it was, like, 180K. It's like it's, like, way more than that now, right? It was just, like, smart investing, But my dad also was the CTO of Fortune 100 tech company. Right? So, like, chief technology officer, you're not used to a black man being a chief technology officer of a Fortune 100 company telling other people what to do. So, I didn't grow up as a hustler. I grew up as a builder. Now, people would see I was interested in many things and they would think I was a hustler and they didn't understand that I was actually learning and acquiring skills so I could build things. People could not associate that with my skin. My dad was no stranger to that either. My dad grew up, he was a sharecropper, or what he would say is a tenant farmer. He used to work land, pick cotton in the 60s to live in a shack in Spiegelville, Texas, right outside of Waco. You can imagine waking up, Texas is super hot, crazy humid, and you're picking cotton, and then that's after school. So you go to school and you pick cotton, and then you're also being integrated in a deep South. Like you got to think about Juneteenth is coming up right around the corner, right? Texas was the last state to even say like, oh, slavery's abolished in that current form. You know what I mean? And it's like he's growing up in a 100-person town picking cotton. He would have never thought he would become a CTO of a Fortune 100 company. He never even thought he was going to leave the state of Texas. The only thing that had got him out here was education. And so my dad was always like saying like, it doesn't matter if you know how to do something, you always must understand the why. Because once you understand the why, you can create things that people have never seen. So my dad was a part of the first company to sell domain names, Network Solutions. That company was black owned. So a black owned company was the one who won a contract with the government to create like domain name registries, right? So it's like there's a book called The Race for the Net where it talks about when black people like controlled the gateway into the internet. Why were we not taught that in school? That the thing that me and you are literally communicating on a podcast right now using someone else's website domain and all that, not GoDaddy, not someone else, that was actually black men who brought that technology together. My dad got a master's in math and minor in computer science, right? People are not, they don't see me and see that. They don't see him and see that. What they see us all as is usually hustlers with no structure. And then someone who doesn't look like us is supposed to provide the structure while we provide the muscle. And what I wanted to do is become someone who understands the why, the how, and the what. So no one could ever control me or manipulate me. And so in learning that, that company, you would think that we'd be like super balling, right? Like we lived in a nice house, nice neighborhood. My dad's a network architect and all that stuff, you know. But I'm running a computer when I'm 4. I'm on DOS playing video games with floppy disks and stuff, right? Like again, I'm not normal. I don't fit into anything, right? I chose scootering when it comes to action sports. That's bottom of the barrel. I even ride Mongo, which is like pushing with your front foot instead of your back foot. That's a no-no in skating. That's a no, right? I'm left-handed, not right-handed, right? I'm a black guy from the suburbs. I talk white, right? That was what they told me when I was growing up. Everything that I did, it was supposed to be like, you're supposed to do it this way. I do it the other way. I have ADHD. I'm not supposed to be successful. I'm not supposed to be able to build community. I'm not supposed to fit in. Yet I still found a way to fit in. Why? Because my dad would always tell me things like, "Hey, don't argue with people who say this is the only way to do something, but also know that there's other ways to do things." Right? He's like, and then like there's a guy, Emmett McHenry, who was one of the co-founders of Network Solution. He was literally a guy who would be like, once you understand the numbers and how to manipulate them, you can your imagination and creativity can literally exponentially grow. I've never heard anyone talk like that, but you're talking about the connection between math and creative freedom. It's the same thing in business. Once you know your numbers of what do we need to do to break even? What do we need to do to turn a profit? What's our average sales cycle? Like, how long does it take to go from talking to a prospect to turning them into a customer? And then how many prospects do we need a month to make this amount of money? Then you're allowed to be creative within that space. Just like you play a game of basketball, you got to have out of bounds. You got to have the shot clock. You got to have the rules. But within those rules, you can play, you can be Steph Curry. You could be LeBron James, completely different playing styles, right? But completely effective. And I think sometimes as creatives, we don't like calculations because we think they're restrictive, but they're actually liberating. And so that's kind of what I've taken from my dad and what he does. But I also have to talk about my mom because my mom, I believe she finished some college, but not all of it. But, she was technically the stay at home mom. And people were like, oh, your husband's traveling and all that. My dad used to sit in the back of an airplane so he could like get frequent flyer miles. Like he drove a 95 Camry and for like 20 years, and then we would go on trips for like when I graduated high school or my brother graduated high school or I got accepted into college. He would go on a cruise for $10,000, but we'd hit 4 countries from a Mediterranean cruise that's cheaper than a car. Like he's still mathematical. Like I could get a car that's only for me, or I could get a $10,000 cruise, and my whole family is benefiting from this amazing experience, and it's expanding their perspective. So my dad was very big on exposure, but my mom was the one who like she was out of shape when she came down. We moved from Virginia. I was born in like Fairfax, Virginia. My mom came down here with my dad. My parents been married the whole time. Another weird thing, like you have parents who are black who are married, and they had you in wedlock. I'm just a big unicorn, right? Like culturally, right? Culturally, and so like all these things coming together. My mom wanted to start losing weight. My dad was like, "No, don't worry about it. I love you and all that." She's like, "But I'm not happy." So just one cabinet in the house, and it was like all this health stuff. And she used to like watch these. She subscribed to like Dr. Oz before he even had a show. It was like a blog in like '02 or something, where it was like health foods. And she just really got serious about health, and she was learning. She ended up becoming personal training like NASM certified. And then she started working at the YMCA for like $7 an hour. And it was like this Christian women's like workout uh class. And she said, I just want to motivate people who just feel like they don't look perfect enough to work out. My mom is very big on experience and intention and making you feel present in the moment. My mom never asked me what am I doing? She said, how am I doing? Then it would lead into why am I doing it? Like I can't go to my mom and be like, yo, I made $20,000 today. She'd be like, okay, but how are you? Right? Like she doesn't care about that. She cares about how I'm doing first. And that rolls over into how I do business and how I build relationships. Most people don't care about how people are, they care about a transaction. And she built her name and her brand by she would do dodgeball as classes sometimes. And people are like, is this professional? Is this P90X? Is this? And it's like, are people losing weight? Did you forget that you were at the gym? Are you burning calories? Are you connecting with other people? Yes, 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 yes. Those are the criteria, are they not? So don't judge me for how I help people get in shape because it doesn't fit your central thought of fitness expertise, you know? And people would say, like, I got to have a class for Rhonda. Right? And so it's like, yeah, she got the certification of I know what the health requirements are. I know that we're just not going to work with everybody. Hey, make sure you check with your doctor. But at the same time, she knew that experience was more important than some type of like selfish ego and some branded name and all of that. She cared about what was the experience that helps people connect to the present, connect to each other, and lead them to the result that they want, but also doing it in a way where they're not even thinking about that process anymore, that they're just literally having fun in the moment and that they're getting a gain out of it. That is something that's super lost in our society today. Everything is, we want to be attached to a brand or a method or this thing that is perceived to be bigger than us. Oh, I'm Forbes. I was featured on Forbes. Instead of showing somebody the knowledge that they look to gain from someone who's featured in Forbes. You know what I mean? Like, I am that type of person. I don't care about titles and cosigns. I care about you seeing that I understand the structure, the framework, the thing that's going to help you go from your shortage to your surplus. And that is frequently what makes me different.
It's so powerful, your upbringing and all the influences and that experience and the exposure that you had at such an early age, and it definitely does play a part in how unique you are and how uniquely you see the world and the way that you connect everything together. I definitely saw that in you from the first moment that we met. It's literally like being in the midst of a unicorn, of whatever a unicorn is, like that definition of something so rare and unique that you might not see another one for the rest of your life, kind of feeling. So I can definitely agree with that. So I want to spend some time talking to positioning, right? Because I the more and more that I've learned from you and acquired my own experiences and shaping my business and my programs and building my community, I see more and more that importance and the necessity of you being well positioned, but then knowing that you're how to position yourself well, when to pivot, when to take advantage of opportunities that are ethical, right? Because there are opportunities that are unethical. A lot of the creators that I talk with, they're not thinking like that, especially ones that are like, let's say, having success. You know, they're doing this full time. They're doing multiple six figures. They're great, but they're attached to the service that they provide. And they're building their entire business around that attachment. So what happens when, they're like, my hand broke, or I had a life situation, or my family is ill and I can no longer be here to provide this service, their entire business is going to crumble and fall. So hence that positioning, right? So then talk to us, Brian, about from your perspective, what do you think creatives and creators need to be doing even at the earliest stage of their businesses to start building up that positioning to take them to that next opportunity whenever life happens?
Well, the biggest thing that I learned, I broke my arm in like I think 2018, and filming you can't film with a broken arm, right? But I also had a mental skill set. So a lot of creators, perception wise, I'm in a lot of business groups. So the first thing a lot of creators and creative entrepreneurs don't do is hang around entrepreneurs. They don't hang around a guy who had to literally invest 250,000 to open up a restaurant and figure out what are all the things and considerations and problems they had to go through. They just want to walk into that restaurant and say, "Hey, I got this new Sony A7S III. We can make some really cool food videos." That sounds very dangerous to me if I've just spent 250K and this person's about to go here and start filming food and has no context about public relations. What do we not want to show? What do we want to show? Has no context about marketing, doesn't understand my customers, doesn't understand what our difference is, doesn't understand our voice. All they understand is, yes, that logo looks amazing, but you don't know how to express my experience in a very short amount of time and in a highly stimulating way. y- you know, you have to hang around the people you serve. It's so selfish. A lot of creatives hate business owners as these greedy, selfish, blood sucking capitalists. But on the same sense, creatives do the same thing every single day. They walk into a business assuming needs. They walk into a business assuming what they have. They walk into a business assuming their importance or significance to that business. It's like walking up, if I walked up to my wife before I met her and I assumed she needed me. How do you think this is going to go? It's not going to go well, right? Versus having a authentic curiosity of saying, "Hey, what are you guys in need of right now, or do you guys even need anything?" Let me not assume that you're in a painful situation. Let me not assume you're in need. You might just want something from me. You know what I mean? Like, you might just say, "Hey, we got everything rocking, but we'd love to have just a great video." I mean, I feel like that video would just be like a almost like the icing on the cake of everything we've invested and built, and we just really want to showcase everybody's hard work in getting to this point. We don't want any money from this. We'd really just want exposure from it. We want to put it on social media, and if it gets 5,000 views or something like that, we'd be happy. But it's now an asset that we could take to presentations and all that. There's no immediate return that we want. We really just want this as almost like a time capsule moment, similar to like how people have wedding videos. And it's like, if you don't listen and you're assuming you never get to that, and then what will happen is either you'll overvalue your service or undervalue your service. And you can never understand your value to someone else until you know what someone else values. So when you're walking into a place, that's why a lot of creatives undercharge, or some of them overcharge, or some of them get in their feelings. Creatives are very emotional. I'm an emotive person. That's what makes us create things that create engagement. It's stimulating, right? It's triggering, right? But a lot of times as creatives, we don't want to sit there and learn business because it's the boring middle. But I'm like, we sat there and learned how to edit. We sat there and learned how to color grade. We sat there and learned how to, if you're doing music, mix and level audio. So why would you learn all those things knowing that the middle is what you do? And you're getting mad at other people. Well, you don't know how long it takes to edit, and you don't understand that, and you don't understand what our profitability is. You don't know what our profit margins are. You don't know who our competition is. You don't know who our best customers are. So before creatives get mad, we need to sit here and just take like our own chill pill and see like what is their what, like I said, what I call the boring middle. You know, what are the levers that they have to pull to do business and they can give them advantage? One thing I learned about hanging around business owners is like there are training videos. Everybody always talks about marketing and content and all this promotion, but it was like, hey, we have to do this safety training. There's a guy I know, he just does construction safety training videos, right? And they're amazing. He uses drones. He's telling a story, but he makes the best story told safety trainings because he's saying like, "Hey, here's what happens when we don't do this. Hey guys, here's the biggest misconceptions that people think why they don't have to wear their safety vests. Like, let's make it Bill Nye the Science Guy approach to science with safety videos." And so, if you can make education fun, you're now saving a business owner time. And then now there's a higher retention of people actually watching the safety video because there was some story, some soul, some life spoken into it. But what I notice is the biggest issue is as you're a business owner, where do you find creatives like that? Where do you find someone who cares about my problems but is amazingly emotive, great storyteller, and can tell the stories that get my people excited? Get hit the business goal, hit the brand goal, hit the bottom line. So I'm like, my rules are if you're an entrepreneur, creative entrepreneur, whatever your service, you could be a designer. You don't have to be in video. You don't have to be in music, but it's like you must know what their like community goal is. Like what community are they trying to build before you talk about content, right? What position? And then you also must know what their bottom line position is, right? That's the weight. So when somebody knows what their brand like, yo, this is helping me build this community. Let's not just talk about branding and look. Let's go deeper. Creatives are deeper. We're more internal, right? Let's start thinking about, hey, what does that community build look like with this content? How can we use this content to build community with this fire branding? Hey, how can we use this fire content to take people to the next step in your customer journey that takes somebody from a stranger to an engager to they submitted maybe an application or a lead to they finally bought something? And then after they bought something, let's follow up with them and make sure that they have onboarding videos, that they have customer training videos of like demonstrations of how to use this product or service. So many opportunities across that whole customer journey. But if we only listen to one voice or one lens, like I talk about Gary Vee a lot because he's a marketer, but he's only one perspective. And there's nothing wrong with his perspective. It's just one perspective. If you look at if you gotta really be focused on who you're serving versus who's telling you what's the most important thing, because a lot of times those two things are in conflict with each other. So to get to the winning position, yes, do take perspective from other people, but never let that perspective of the generic mainstream mass content creator advice supersede the need of that person you're looking to serve.
I love that. And so what I'm hearing is that the first thing that a creative or creator, creative entrepreneur should be doing in their business is treating it like a business, understanding all the components and the boring parts of a business, how to grow it, how to manage profitability, how to, work with costs, and also understand the needs of the business that they're serving or the audience that they're serving, versus assuming that they know the needs and placing it all on like the gear that you have, or the technicalities of the execution of the video, more so placing more value on the outcome of what this piece of content means to them. Because something that I know that you magnified in my life, was seeing video as an amplification of something that is already there, of a message, of a story that you already want to tell. It's like video doesn't even matter anymore. Like, what matters is point A to point B, right? And the vehicle that I use is irrelevant, really. So now that, like, let's say let's go through an evolution of this creator persona that we've created in this conversation. Let's say they now are applying these things into their business, right? They're understanding the business components, they're serving their audience in the right way, they care about the customer journey, they're providing customer service at all levels of the journey. They're providing those basic things, right? So then now what happens? Let's say the business is starting to grow, they're starting to get a little bit of credibility, authority in their industry. What happens now?
You must become a capitalist. And this sounds so bad. This is like creators have to become capitalists. That's why most of them are broke, and that's why they can't leave. That's why they literally handcuff themselves. I handcuff myself in my business. Imagine you had to go to the hospital to visit your mom for a month. Can't leave your business because you are the player. Right now, the way the creative game is you're Steph Curry on the court, but there's no NBA financing you. So you got to be Steph Curry and build the NBA at the same time. Can you imagine that? It's not player coach. It's not your player, owner, pitcher. That's insane, right? And that's why people get burnt out. And that's why you build this empire and then it crumbles as soon as you leave. Capitalization means how can I literally build leverage? How can I capitalize on this technology? That is one thing I'm big on. I do. You have to capitalize on the fact that most creators build based off with ego in mind. If you kill your ego, you win the game. You will destroy other creators if you have an equal level of talent. If you have no like connected ego of how it's done. Oh, I spend 18 hours color grading. I don't care. What is the anatomy of color grading? Okay, what tools are available to me? How can I become aware of what the best grade is faster? Okay, is there software I can invest in that's going to save me time on that? Is there something? No, a human hand can't, be replaced. I'm like, bro, we make videos on a laptop. We used to use tape. Stop it. Stop the madness, right? If I can do something that's like, yo, it took me 18, that's business. How can we improve the real businesses? When you grow your business, it goes from like, hey, this is a cool asset to how can we have incremental increases? So a business, you get into a niche. I found my niche was helping people who are professional services consulting. So even when I do work with Goodwill, they're still providing a solution or a professional service to like another brand, in their B2B game. Me, I'm working with people who might do online courses or they have products, right? I'm consulting them. As a creative, you're a consultant. Consultants come in to literally improve performance. If you think about a coach comes in not to teach you how to play basketball. They come in to say, hey, I'm going to improve your performance, right? So you're already a good shooter, but we're going to increase that by 10%, 20%. What if you get 10% more shots, 20% more shots? When you start growing your business, you're creating a system that capitalizes on all these things that now you can say, hey, our videos will increase your employee onboarding buy-in. And how can we measure their buy-in? Hey, they really are following the instructions. Before, let's get a snapshot of what was happening. We had no videos, we had in-person training, very disconnected, low morale. And then after Bryant's videos, they really sat down and said, hey, what was everything wrong with the current training process? What could be improved? What would you like? What communication style do you like? If you had a video like this, if you could have any type of video, what types of videos would help you learn this faster? Right? How would you like to consume that? Would you, oh, okay, cool. We might make an online course in Teachable for a company that is an employee training video. This is not how to make 100,000 a month course. This is a course of you literally having safety training videos in this. Again, kill ego, helping someone else. using your own talent. I could have built that whole online course platform from scratch, but for what? No. Teachable already did it. Let's capitalize on the fact that Teachable already did it. Let's capitalize on the fact that I have a Vimeo account. I can just pop that in there. Let's capitalize on the fact that it's integrated with tools like Zapier, where I can automate, email notifications to let's like the owner of when somebody finishes or whatever we want to do. Get the needs, find the solutions, get it done. And you get to do more stories. That's how view my mindset. I'm here to tell stories. No one cares about how long it takes me to do this stuff. So if I can figure out how to turn that 14-hour process into a 7-hour process, that means I can double my output and I can teach somebody else how to do that and I can replace myself and I can tell even more stories and I can share at scale the power of business storytelling. Like that's how my brain works. I don't We can work on something for 5 hours and it be useless. The value of art is solely not what you think it's worth, it's what it's used for. The more people who find value in your art, the more valuable it is. Why does Steph Curry get like $40 million a year? Because there's literally like 20,000 people who will pay tickets to watch him. Then there's millions of people who will watch him on TV, right? Without that community and audience, he doesn't get paid that. He's not getting paid to play basketball. He's getting paid to draw attention and focus to my brand. People get, oh, he just gets paid to dribble a ball. No, honey. You get paid to just shoot a camera? No, I'm getting you in state. One of my clients, they say, I love working with Bryant. And they never talk about my quality. I got the GH6 using it right now. It's at 6K. They say he knows how to take one shoot and maximize as much useful opportunities that we can. He's going to ask the right questions. He's going to make sure everybody's in state. He's going to make sure that we get everything we need. He's going to make sure that the locations are in alignment. He's going to make sure that this content fits each placement. So we're going to have one for stories. We're going to have one for reels. We're going to have one for our feed, LinkedIn. He's going to ask about what our customers' frustrations are, what their misconceptions are. He's going to make sure every message possible that is in relation to our objective is in alignment with this piece of content and then show us how to leverage it. And then he's going to be able to shoot all that in one day, then turn it around in 2 weeks. You can't find that. That's not a videographer. Right? It's a business owner.
So then real quick there, because you said something that I've been wanting to talk about for a while, which is this videographer title, right? I want your opinion on, because a lot of companies will and people are literally assuming what you're saying. They want what you just said that you give to your clients, but then they'll ask for a videographer to do that. So talk to me about, like, how can we as, and I believe like that's something that you and I do already, and that more I encourage more people to start doing as they're stepping into this creative entrepreneur business owner role, is how can we start using our discovery calls to also educate clients on language, and explain to them and show them this is what you're looking for, not this. Talk to me about your, what you think
I'm
about
gonna,
all
I'm gonna
that.
tell you an industry who already does it. The food industry already has this on lock. I Everything already exists, Chris. There's just new forms of it. Content is food. Content is food for your brain. You eat it with your eyes. You eat it with your eyes, and then it turns into thoughts. Food you eat with your mouth, it turns into thoughts and feelings like, oh, that tastes good. So your message is the ingredients. The content is the plating and how it looks, right? But the message is the ingredients. So you're really a messaging coach. You're a messaging consultant. When they say we want a video messaging consultant so somebody can come in here, get our message dialed in, really connect our message to our method so we can start a movement, right? And we need someone who can tell that story, right? Who already does that? There's a difference between a line cook. That's how a videographer is viewed in business owners' minds. When I was in BNI, Business Networking International, and I had to pitch every week. You give 30 seconds to say what you do. I was like, oh, we do videos and we help you tell your story. No one cared, right? Then I said, hey guys, I want to let you guys know something. I'm not a videographer, I'm a business owner. And I understand the things that keep you up at night. And I understand that you don't have a lot of time. You guys have more time or more money than time. And I'm going to create a asset that's going to take your story, take your impact, and help people recognize the value and the impact of your services through what we call vision videos and what we also call signature series. And we also do case stories or customer testimonial stories about your impact. And they're like, oh, this guy thinks in product. He doesn't think in service. A lot of creatives say, yo, we can do video, we can do audio, we can do 8 cameras, we can do all this stuff. And it's like, no, you need to walk in there not like a line cook who could cook anything. You need to be a chef who's coming in there with the recipe book. So as a filmmaker, you need to make your own recipes, just like a chef. Emerald has his own recipes. So when he opens up a restaurant, his business, people are excited to go taste. If you want to stand out in your market, you must turn your videos into recipes. And then now your videos are recipes that people have a taste for. And then now it's not even, I need a video. It's like, oh man, I got a public speaking engagement and I need that Kris recipe because I know it's going to come with the flavor, but it's also going to be healthy for me. It's going to match. It's going to be in alignment with my body. Because there's people who make stuff taste good. It's bad for you though. That's a video that looks amazing and crazy, but it's not gonna grow your business. And then there's people who make amazing content and then it's good for you. It's like, oh, I got leads. Oh, I got connection. Oh, we got 10 testimonials from that one speaking event. Not like they only know what they know. It's a chef's job to be like, what do you like? Right? Da, 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 da. Like a doctor. We have to be like content doctors, right? And so when you think about that, you got a videographer to me is more like a line cook, still talented, still knows how to cook, but like someone who's going to be like a strategist, right? Somebody who's going to understand campaigns. They don't expect you to understand marketing campaigns. They don't expect you to understand like recruiting. They don't expect you to understand training. And so when you come in, they're treating you like a chef, right? You know your business can't survive without a chef, right? Because that chef could be the anchor of your whole kitchen. You can replace a line cook faster than you can replace a chef. And then when you're a chef with your personal brand, you could have your own catering. What is catering? Using your chef skills to make things at scale. Hey, we can feed 400 people at once. Look at people who do wedding cakes. They charge you 300 for a cake is because it's tasting so good. That is the flawed creative mindset. $400 for that? I can make that. Stop that. It's not because they could not make it. It was because they wanted someone who could do it better than them, faster than them at a certain quality level. And then if it messed up, they wanted to go to somebody so they could have it fixed. That's what they want, right? And when you realize that, that's why people who are less talented than you are making more money because people would rather have an 80% match than 100% failure, right? I got what I want. I've done it many times. I've done it many times where I gave somebody 110, but it's like, bro, it took you 5 months. I'm like, yeah, because I was looking up more story angles and this and that. And this asset is going to last you 5 years because I made sure it's evergreen. And it's like, I don't care. I really just wanted like a video that you probably could have put together in like a week. And then I'm feeling crushed and I'm questioning my skill set and all that. And I was like, no, let me step back. How can I give people what I built in 5 months in 1 week, maybe 2 weeks? Or maybe can I let them tell them up front it's going to take me 5 months to do that because here's the process. Let me unpack it. But, creators got to do a way better job of communicating because our job is communicating, which is crazy. Our content is supposed to be communicating very important messages at scale that don't suck. So if we don't care about business, we're just making the world a continually boring business place. Be Apple, not Microsoft.
Yes, I love that so much. I love that so much. I love yeah, Apple's just a great representation of that all over. Okay, so then I think this has been so far, like already like so many nuggets, so many good mindset perspective and start like just to start moving in a different direction in this next evolution of the internet and business and the world, right? Humanity is shifting, and so, as storytellers, we're at the forefront of what that story looks like, of how that story is told. And so, taking more control over that responsibility as creators, I think is kind of like the next phase in what that looks like. So I want to give creators listening to this, creative entrepreneurs, a little bit of kind of a complete to complete this with a bow. What are three key questions, Brian, that the line cooks can start asking to start becoming the chef when they're going into these conversations with clients, structuring their negotiation deals, trying to get that right information from the client? What are three key questions that they can start building into their sales process?
All right. I got this thing I call it the dose method. It's an acronym. Chris knows I have a million. I'll give you the D and the O pieces of it. It's two D's and an O, but it's dose because you gotta give people a dose of reality so they realize that there's a problem and that you understand how to get there. So this whole mindset came from when you go get an airplane flight. If you know if you're flying to Hawaii from New York and you want to fly there tomorrow, it's going to be way more expensive than if you try to fly there and you're doing it 6 months in advance. Right? People understand that. They don't get mad when like, oh my God, how much is a flight? But they treat us like that. How much is a video? How much is a flight? How fast do you want to get there? You want first class? You want coach? Right? Flight? You can't even afford a flight. You might take the bus. No, I deserve a flight. Well, not your budget. Your budget does not say that. Right? Why do people accept that? So dose is the first is destination. What is the destination? So if you're currently a videographer, ask a business owner like questions to understand where are you trying to go. Because the worst thing you can do is try to provide a service, create a video for someone who does not know where they want to go, and they are unaware of that. Because they are going to come back with revisions. They're going to come back with insecurities. I don't look good. I don't do that. I don't. You did not tell me your destination. What is the destination? How do you want to look? Where do you want to go? What do you want this thing to do for you? Right? What type of experience would you like, you know, in getting to this destination, right? Do you just need something that's quick, fast, not very fancy, or do you want like white glove service? I need to know what's that destination you're trying to get to. The next piece of this D, it's like say this is the headline, the subtitle of that D, still in dose, is deadline. If someone does not have a destination and a deadline, don't work with them. I want to get to this point by this time. So where are you currently at? Oh my gosh. They're going to become aware, right? So if I tell you, "Hey, I want to go to Hawaii and I want to take the train," you got to tell them like, "Yo, you live in New York. It's not possible." Right? You got to know in your business. So say somebody says, "Hey, I want my wedding film next week." Are you destination that in 1 week? How would you like it, right? So then it leads me to the O, right? What are the obstacles then, right? So you want to get to this destination within this deadline. What obstacles are preventing you from hiring a video person a week before your wedding? Every time I call someone, they say that's insane, and they tell me it's going to be $20,000, and they don't have time to interview all my people. You're right. If people don't know their destination, where they want to go within a deadline, because those are real constraints. Right? So you can't charge a price. There's no value without people understanding their constraints and your ability to help them through those constraints. Right? So people just business is simple. People have constraints, they're paying you to release those constraints. They don't have time to do something, they don't have an asset that allows them to have certain levels of freedom. They come in, they give you money because they can't fast forward time or slow it down. You can do it faster and you can get them to their destination at that deadline and avoid all these obstacles, right? With your solution, right? And so when I say that destination, deadline, obstacles, those are three things that you want to cover before you even start talking about doing business. Cause I used to be the person who just raised my hand. I can. Like my offer was yes. Yeah, no questions. Yes. And then I get in there and I'm like, this person wanted all this. How many times as creators do we be like, they wanted this and then they wanted that and then we didn't go in the restaurant and say, sir, what would you like? I would like a steak that has this, and how would you like it? I need it in 1 second. That's how you manage expectations, sir. That is not possible. People have to be told no to respect you. So when you're a videographer, they're not used to you telling them no. They're like, I've got this plan. You just go do it. Oh, I need these visuals. You just go do it. I'm the brain. It's like, sir, what destination would you like to go get to? And what's the deadline for that? And if they don't even want to answer those questions, don't work with them. They don't respect you. They don't see you as a brain. They see you as hands and legs. Remember, in the body, your arms can get cut off, your legs can get cut off. Stephen Hawking changed the world, and he was in a wheelchair, and he talked through a computer. Why? Because his brain worked. You don't make money as a creative until people respect your brain as much as they respect your product.
Woo! Oh my gosh, I love that. And so that is really like also the life changing side of applying this mindset of going in with this type of process in place, because it weeds out the people that you don't want to do business with so quick that it's like now you have standards, now you have requirements. You're not, just because you can do something doesn't mean that you're just going to do it for anybody. There, it's just like you wouldn't date everybody. You don't date everybody. You don't marry. Maybe in some countries, people do that, but in this country, you just pick the one. And so it's just like the same approaches with your business, with your art. And so the last thing that I'll say is, like, it's also important to put as much energy as we're putting outwards to other people into our own selves. As creators, we need to flip the camera to us too. And we need,
Right, like this
exactly, we need to, because and
community.
this is our own intellectual property. I mean, this show may not be worth a lot right this second, but I know that in the future, 5 years from now, this is going to be worth a lot, and this is going to be intellectual property that I'm investing in today. And so I'm not thinking about the outcome. I'm not thinking about, oh, how big or whatever it's going to be, but I'm putting into my own cup as a creator, and I'm not putting all of my chips into other people and providing a service for other people. So that's the last thing that I would love to say to the creative community, is start putting into your own cup, because no one's going to take care of you like you are. So, Brian, thank you so much for being here. Wealth of wisdom and knowledge. I am just so stoked to even have you in my sphere. And so just so grateful for your time.